We are off to the races. Folks, this is a big show. Andrew Kula, Anthony Meglin, Evan Massey is with us here to break down, first of all, the Packers' 27-23 win over the Arizona Cardinals in the desert. Exciting win, probably way too close for anybody's comfort. We're going to talk about that, but we're also going to look ahead to a Sunday night matchup against the Pittsburgh Steelers and this old man named Aaron Rodgers. And us Packers fans know a thing or two about that old dog. So a lot to talk about today. Real quick, Anthony, Evan, just want to say what's up. How you guys doing, Anthony? What's new, man?
Andrew, good to be back with you again. I say it every week. I can't believe we're back for another week of action. We're rolling through Monday Night Football as we record this, getting into week 7 or week 8, actually, finishing up week 7 into week 8 of the NFL. It's crazy to say that, but season's rolling right along, and Packers fans got to be happy about where they're at. It's a tough win out in the desert. We'll get into a lot of the details, but Jacoby was ripping it around on us for a little bit, but able to kind of outlast him. So excited to dive into it.
Evan, how's life going for you over there, man?
It's going well, man. 4-1-1 feels good. A little bit nervous on Sunday. Didn't look great early, but I guess when you come back and take the lead with 1:50 left and you close it out, it's a good day. But I'm excited to be back. I think this is my second time on the show. Appreciate you guys having me.
We are happy to have you. Listen, anytime you can go on the road in the NFL and pick up a win, that's a good day at the office, okay? We talked about it last week, Anthony. We are a spoiled bunch over in Packer Nation. And
Respectfully.
Yeah, respectfully, yeah. It was all respect and fun. So let's get into it, guys. It was a 27-23 win over the Arizona Cardinals. The Packers are now 4-1-1. Still feels weird to have that one tacked on the end there with the tie. The Cardinals are 2-5. They're on a 5-game losing skid. They're in a bad spot right now. Credit to the Cardinals. They gave the Packers everything they could handle. They're a desperate team trying to protect the home field, trying to stop this losing skid. What I want to talk about to start out, though, I think there's so many places we can go. But, not even, a month and a half ago, the Packers made this huge move bringing in Micah Parsons. And he made an impact right away with this team. But we really saw kind of the star power from Parsons against the Cardinals. Just an incredible game. He finished with 3 sacks. I think he had somewhere along 9 or 10 quarterback pressures. Anthony, let's start with you. Again, as an outside observer to this experience that we're having, Micah Parsons, man, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean that Sunday was what you trade for. In games like this, like you said, there's a lot of elements to this. Winning on the road in the NFL is hard. Playing a desperate team is really hard, and playing truthfully a backup quarterback that really doesn't have anything to fall back on. Right, he's kind of playing with house money, and you saw that kind of was back there just ripping that thing around the field. Got Marvin Harrison Jr. going, got Zay Jones going, got a lot of these guys going. And what can stop that? What can stop this when a passing attack is rolling, your secondary struggling? It's a pass rusher, and you saw a couple of those. I think back to there's 2 in the red zone where he just kind of came around the edge and on big plays, huge leverage situations, comes around the edge, and just ends the play. And that's what those star pass rushers can do, and that's what you sign up for, right? You pay them all that money for plays like that, for games like this, and it was good to see it come to fruition. I know it's week 5 now, and he's made a couple nice plays, but this one was like, all right, here you go. This is the game where you look back on oh, Micah Parsons has arrived.
Absolutely. Evan, what do you think, buddy?
Yeah, I wrote an article on PackersRoundtable about it. That's why you go get him. Meglin hit it right on the head. Truthfully, the thing with Parsons is he's been making that kind of impact all season. The sack numbers just haven't looked like that on paper. But I think it was 10 quarterback pressures, 5 quarterback hits, and 3 sacks. Oof. It's insane. That's why you trade Kenny Clark and 2 first-round picks. That's why you pay out 4 years, $188 million. This is the guy he's been his entire career. And, any concern that Packers fans had coming into this because he only had 2.5 sacks, just give him time. We're going to see a couple more games like that one as we go on throughout the rest of the season.
I agree. You're looking at a guy who's hungry. He's happy. being in Green Bay. I think, that's a big part of it. The Packers made him feel wanted going out and trading what they did, as well as paying him a ton of money. And so you're looking at two elements. He's hungry, he's happy, and he's arguably the most talented pass rusher in the NFC. I think you can make the case that he's right up there with the rest of those guys. Now the question is, are we going to see other 3 sack games from him? Is this just kind of an aberration, or is this something that you guys can see just kind of being the new standard?
Yeah, no, I would say like the sack numbers come and go, right? In a game like this, he got him, right? But the bigger number there is what Evan was saying was the pressure number. When number one's in the backfield at all times, that wrecks game plans. And also too, everyone falls in love with those sack numbers. Trust me, you see the helmet over my right shoulder. Everyone falls in love with the sack numbers. Myles Garrett's the prime example of that. But when teams have to develop an entire game plan around one player to start, and it's Micah Parsons, that changes things. So it's that element, but the biggest one is those QB pressures, man. When he's in the backfield constantly, that wears on quarterbacks, and you'll see that pay dividends as this season progresses.
Absolutely. What I'd like to transition to here, and I think we can actually kind of wrap up Parsons and talk about our second topic here at the same time. Anthony, this is something we've talked about throughout the course of the season, but especially in the past couple of weeks, has been clearly the way that offenses have decided to attack this Packers team, knowing that they've got Parsons and Rashawn Gary, and when he's healthy, Devontae Wyatt, is go to the quick game. And we saw that a lot again from the Cardinals. You can bet your bottom dollar that you're going to see that a lot from Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers. That dude always gets the ball out quick, and it's probably going to be even more than that. So my question is, and Evan, we'll start with you. What can Jeff Hafley do to counteract that? And I think you can only rely so much on the talent of a guy like Parsons. That's something that has to be looked at scheme-wise.
Yeah, there's not much with the current roster. I think the first thing that I'd like to see is let's stop playing Nate Hobbs outside. Nate Hobbs has been a nickel throughout his career, and we signed him to play outside. It's not working. He's getting beat down the field repeatedly. He's also not great with the quick slants. He just doesn't have that speed. That's number one. Truthfully, I've said it, going back to the start of the season, we probably need to go get somebody. I've seen little reports here and there about the Packers having interest in a guy like Asante Samuel Jr. or maybe a Stephon Gilmore's out there. The trade deadline's coming up in 2 weeks. I'm not really sure Jeff Hafley should be blamed for this. This isn't a Jeff Hafley problem. This is the fact that he was given a secondary that was completely unproven. And they took a gamble on it. And it's, if your pass rush is getting there, it's great, but when quarterbacks are getting the ball out in 2 seconds or less, you got to go get somebody else who can be your true number one corner, or at least a serviceable number two. Keyshawn Nixon's been fantastic, but obviously on the other side with Nate Hobbs, it just hasn't been working.
Yeah, the only thing I would add to that too is if they aren't able to go get somebody here at the deadline, how do you handle that during a game? Okay, there's a couple things you can do, right? You can try to heat them up, right? But sometimes we're going to see this on Sunday. Aaron Rodgers is going to get the ball like this. Packers fans lived it, right? And it's quicker now, right? This isn't a Steelers team that's going to try to drop back and throw the ball vertically down the field. They're going to get the ball out quick. They're going to rely on their run game to do so. So what does that do? Well, that makes an offense string together these crazy long drives. That would be the one thing that I would say, hey, if you can't go and add anything to the secondary, really just work on stiffening up, when the field shrinks, right? When you get into that red zone. Keep teams out of the end zone. Field goals are victories in those scenarios. But it's like little things like that where it's all right, if they are going to get the ball out quick, make tackles, be disciplined in that, and then force teams to string together 10 play, 11 play, 12 play, 13 play drives. It's really hard to do. Because guys end up making mistakes. So that's one thing to do, that if they're not going to go address the roster, just really work on, hey, threes are a win, and be really good in your fundamentals after the catch to try to force long drives.
Threes are a win as long as your offense is getting sevens,
Yeah.
And in the first half against the Cardinals, that was absolutely a problem. Credit to Havrasek, the kid with the 61-yard field goal. crazy to think that this guy was thinking about being a substitute teacher, and now he's literally a record holder.
Andrew, you ever tried kicking? You ever tried kicking yet?
Not yet, but if he can do it, maybe I can do it. Maybe I can do it. I want to stick with the secondary for a moment here. A guy we've not really talked about much this season at all, and I'm not even sure, Anthony, we've mentioned his name yet through now 7 podcasts, is Xavier McKinney. This is an all-pro safety, and he had a great season last year for the Packers, multiple interceptions. He had a streak, I think it was 6 or 7 games in a row when he came away with a pick. Now, kind of with this mixture of the quick game, offenses that are watching the Packers defense, they're clearly seeing that McKinney's there. He's kind of taking the lid off everything. I think Evan Williams is another really good safety too. So that's where the quick game kind of comes into play. How did the Packers get a guy like McKinney more involved? Let's start with you, Evan.
Tough one.
Oh, actually, let's start with you. Why not?
Start with me? All right, we'll take it from here. Yeah, it's tough to get those safeties really involved. I go back and forth because it kind of is like, it's very similar to the pass rush conversation where you're like, all right, if he's doing his job in the post and taking the big play away, that is equally as impactful. It's not going to show up on the stat sheet, may not even show up on the play. You may not even see him in the TV screen, but that's equally impactful as dropping him into the box and getting him close to the line of scrimmage. You don't want to put those guys in like one-on-one cover situations. That's not where their strength is, but McKinney's shown the ability to stick his nose there and make tackles. Obviously, his strength is taking the football away, but if the ball is going to be condensed into a 15-yard area or a 10-yard area, get him into the box. You see that with some of these elite safeties. Get him into the box, get him involved in the run game, and when you're involved in the run game, you get inherently involved in the quick passing game, and that gets his hands around the football and gets him moving around in there, which is where you want him to be.
What do you think, Evan?
I mean, he pretty much said it all. Truthfully, I mean, if McKinney's not involved, that just means people are scared of him. I mean, It's taking away an element of the opponent's offense. So, I mean, I don't think you try to force anything to move him around. I think you keep him right where he's at. Truthfully, I mean, I think he made a comment right before the Arizona game that he was kind of getting bored. But that's a good thing. That's exactly what you want to hear your safety say. And, with Evan Williams on the other side, we have really good coverage on that last tier of the defense. If you shore up the cornerback room just a little bit, or if those guys start playing a little bit better, I mean, that passing defense is going to be absolutely elite.
Absolutely. The one thing I will say, if McKinney is not getting involved as much in the game, which I think we all see that, he's absolutely been one of the players on this team who's been a leader. He came out after the game against the Cardinals and basically said it shouldn't have come down to the fourth quarter. We're the better team. When we're playing teams that are better than the Cardinals, basically, this is not going to cut it. So, you got to respect the guy who's willing to call out his team after a win, and he's got the cachet as an all-pro to be able to do that. So it'd be interesting to see if the Packers can get McKinney more involved. What I'd be worried about, and I think we kind of talked about a little bit, if you're bringing him into the box or Williams into the box, we've already kind of discussed the secondary with guys like Hobbs. You maybe don't trust them as much, and the closer to the line of scrimmage you bring McKinney, the more an offense can take a deep shot. If you've got a guy like Hobbs, who's probably, I would call him a liability at this point. Let's switch over to the offensive side of the ball. I want to talk about Jordan Love. After that game against the Cardinals, I was like on cloud 9 with this kid. I thought he played a great game. And then I looked at the box score and realized that the numbers didn't really pop out. So he had 19 of 29 passes completed, 179 yards, 1 touchdown, 6.9 yards per throw. So those aren't necessarily numbers that you put on an MVP reel. With that said, he made some incredible throws, I thought, throughout the game. He had a couple clutch fourth down conversions, especially that one to Tucker Kraft at the end of the game. To me, it was one of those games where it seemed like he kind of grew up a little bit. He didn't have his trademark stupid play that we seem to see every week. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. We'll start with our quarterback, Anthony, and we'll go from there.
Isn't that funny when you watch a game and your eyes tell you, oh yeah, he just balled out. He won us the football game. He was huge in the big moments. Then you look at the box score and it's like maybe doesn't match. Well, I lean towards your first initial instinct. It's like, what did the guy do when the chips were down, right? When it was winning time, what did he do? And it's very simple, right? There's two situations that you lean on, and it always is winning the middle part of the game and then winning the end of the game. You look at the end of the first half, makes that big completion down the center of the field just in time to get the timeout called and to get a field goal attempt out. Mm-hmm. And what does that do? That steals 3 points. Well, the difference in the game is 4 points. Okay, so that's a game-winning play. Fourth down, right? It's game on the line. You're losing the football game, down 3, and he stands in the pocket, finds Tucker Kraft up the sidelines, and then continues to push the team down the field and get the ball in the end zone. It's winning plays like that stand out to me, to you, Andrew, when you're sitting there like, yep, he played well today. Yeah, he did, because he made the game-winning plays when they were called upon, and that's something that you can take away from this one.
Evan, would love to hear your thoughts. I feel like if you're looking at both of our fandoms as Packers fans, I feel like you might tend to be a little bit more critical, and I might tend to be a little bit more too optimistic. So I'd love to hear kind of where you come down on this one.
It's a perfect just a heads up. I'm in the middle. It's a perfect juxtaposition because like Andrew's a little more light right now, and Evan's got a little more of the night background right now. So it's like perfectly weighed.
Yeah, I mean, truthfully, my pessimism, I guess you could say, would be having those stacked teams for so many years and coming up short in the playoffs. I love regular season success, but I'm kind of tired of it. So I mean, at the same time, if you're going to win in the playoffs. If you're going to lose and get a better pick. I don't know. I'm just kind of those NFC Championship games, especially the onside kicking in Seattle. Just, man, yeah, I can't even talk about it. But anyway, yeah, as far as Jordan Love is concerned, past his passing, Meglin broke that down perfectly. But when you look late in the game, he had 2 runs that really stood out to me. This guy wants to win. He put his body on the line and took a beating on the first run. The second run, he ran around zigzag through the entire defense and picked up a clutch first down. I mean, those are the kind of plays that Jordan Love has needed to make. He's got the athleticism. Those boneheaded plays are when he tries to force the football. And what I saw against the Cardinals is he took what the defense gave him. In the first half, there really wasn't too aggressive of a game plan for him. He opened up a little. LaFleur opened it up a little bit in the second half, and you started seeing Jordan make those plays. But being willing to tuck the ball and run with it is exactly what Jordan Love needs to do. Don't force that football where it can't go. Take off, and we saw that it was great. I mean, the numbers are what they are. It wasn't, statistically a massive game, but it's still a pretty solid game against a team that, truthfully, Arizona, as they're not as bad as their record suggests. I think the stats are they've lost 4 games by a combined 7 points or something like that. Something crazy, or 10 points maybe it is. I mean, that team's not too bad, and LaFleur said that going in. This team is not as bad as their record suggests, and we better be ready to play. And I'll tell you what, Jordan Love was ready to play. And I certainly love, the stones to go for it on fourth down. And, Jordan Love, one thing I like about him, he reminds me, a lot of people say Aaron Rodgers. I see Favre in him. That dude just wants to sling the football. We've got 4th and 2, 4th and 3, and that dude's throwing it 50 yards down the field. And usually I'm like, no. But, I see Tucker Kraft down there 15 yards down the field, 20 yards down the field, and he has the stones to make that throw. And it's those things that make you think he can be a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. And if he can eliminate that boneheaded play that can lose you a game, he's going to get there. That just is what it is. And he really showed a lot of that, even though the stats didn't say that. He showed a lot of that against Arizona.
Mm-hmm. Anthony, you seem like you're itching to say something.
Well, I got a couple things. First of all, Evan just said he's sick of regular season wins. That's crazy. That's why.
As a Brown,
I'm sick of the regular season wins. I'm sick of it. I'm not sick of regular season wins. What is really frustrating is when you are the best team in the NFL and you have a roster stacked better than anybody else, and you beat yourself time and time again. That's frustrating.
Yeah. No, I absolutely understand that. And then like on the points you made about Jordan Love, man, this is a guy you often see it. You nailed it. The quarterbacks who will use their legs. You see Baker Mayfield doing it. It seems like every week. You see these guys, Patrick Mahomes, basically, no, everyone forgets about it because he makes the crazy throws, but like he wins football games with his legs. And, a pocket breaks down or defense comes out man-to-man coverage. Sometimes the right answer is you pulling the football down and using that athleticism. I love that one. Man, I'll tell you what, when quarterbacks slide, I don't know, we could do a whole podcast on the slide because they should just take it out. It's so dangerous. It's so dangerous when you're basically just putting your head. Hey, I'm going to put my head this far from the ground. That one, the one you're talking about, Evan, he takes off. Buda Baker was coming like a heat-seeking missile and just launches right over his head. And that stuff, even if sometimes the defenders are going to come in and try to headhunt you. Sometimes it's an accident, but you put your head right on the ground. It's going to bang off the ground. You're concussed every single time. I don't know. I'm going off on a little tangent. Love what he did with his feet. Love what he did with his arm. He made game-winning plays, and the result of that is a awesome comeback victory.
The one thing that I think kind of got lost in the shuffle that I realized after the game, LaFleur was talking about how, and if you guys remember, on that fourth down, he initially wanted to go for the field goal, called the timeout, and apparently he saw Love's face coming to the sideline, and Love looked disgusted that they wanted to kick the field goal. And so that's when LaFleur decided, hey, let's just go for it. And to me, that's a very Rodgers-esque, Rodgers could say a million words with just his face, and but to me, that's also growth in Love. To go from a young kid who's just backing up Aaron Rodgers, even in these first 2 years of his career, it kind of seemed like he was experiencing things in new ways. And now you could almost say he's a veteran quarterback who's able to tell his coach, no, we're going to go for it right here, and we're going to go win this ball game. And I think he's really evolved as a quarterback, even just from the beginning of this season.
Totally agree. I think it actually goes back. I think a couple weeks ago, I was on the podcast, and Aaron Rodgers was the guy who calmed LaFleur down. And and if Love can become that guy, then maybe LaFleur and Love are the next great pairing. I loved seeing that after the game. Seeing a guy that's like so competitive that tying the game, I think it would have tied the game. It disgusts him. I mean, that's bold. But, man, that tells you that kid wants to win, and you just can't have enough of that.
Speaking of wants to win, go ahead.
No, I was going to say go out and back it up. Like, that's the thing, too.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you're going to come over to the sidelines, and maybe it was just a look. Maybe he said something. But put your butt back on that field, and you go make the play, because I'll tell you what, that's a lonely walk back if you don't. And, because you're putting the whole team on your back, and you absolutely love to see that part, Andrew.
That's what you want to see from your franchise quarterback right there. Absolutely. Speaking of wanting to win, I thought that was a great transition. I want to talk about Josh Jacobs for a minute. This guy, I think last week we called him the stabilizer of the Packers offense, and he had another great game. Again, it's one of those where the numbers don't stick out. So he rushed 13 times for 55 yards. It's just those moments, those game-winning plays, 2 touchdowns. The thing about Josh Jacobs is he was questionable heading into the game, a true game time decision. He had a sickness that he's been dealing with for 2 weeks now, an injury that he said the Packers wanted to hold him out for. And basically what he said after the game was, you got to know who you're talking to. And a guy like him, he wants to be on the field making game-winning plays. To me, Evan, the Packers might not have a win without Josh Jacobs.
I agree. I mean, I don't know if you saw the post-game video of him talking to the team. He got a game ball, and he was just like, look, I can't show you enough how much I care about y'all. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that championship teams have to have. He is truly a glue guy. He is truly a leader. And, I mean, you could tell he wasn't 100%. You could see it. I mean, he was sat out every other series for multiple plays. At halftime, I think it was, LaFleur was asked if he's all right, and he was just kind of like, well, yeah, he's okay. He clearly couldn't play the whole game. The Packers weren't going to let him. Calf injuries aren't something to mess around with. We've seen that uptick of Achilles injuries coming off of calf injuries. But, I mean, to see a guy who, it reminds me a little bit of Tyrese Halliburton in the NBA playoffs. The Pacers probably should have kept him out. They wanted to keep him out, and he was just like, no, I'm going to put it on the line for my teammates. And those kind of guys can really take a team and uplift all of them, and they feed off of a guy like that. And not just that, but to come in and, the stats weren't huge, but his touchdown runs were inspiring. And, without him, you definitely don't win that game. Without him, I'm not sure how many wins you have this season. But man, when we first signed him, it was like you see Aaron Jones go and you're just kind of wondering, was this really the right move? And, when you lose a guy like Aaron Rodgers and you have a young quarterback like Jordan Love, you've got to bring in a leader. And, Brian Gutekunst in the front office obviously saw that with Josh Jacobs. It goes much farther past what he does in the box score. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. Leader, winner, and truthfully, he's one of my favorite players at this point because of that mentality.
Absolutely. What do you think?
Isn't it so rare in the NFL and even in just professional sports in general, like to hear, like what you were saying, Evan, post-game press or post-game locker room, how much these guys, this team means to this one singular professional, right? Like he's getting paid like a king and doing all the stuff, but hey, it's still about football. And like, that's really refreshing. That's like a refreshing thing to hear. And, it's from one of the best players on the team. And like you said, Ev, that is what championship teams are made of. That's the DNA of a championship team.
Well, truthfully, too, I mean, as the Packers, when they had Aaron Jones, how many times would Aaron Jones miss multiple games in a row due to injuries? And it really sets your offense back. It's refreshing to have a guy who is just like, no, I am playing through this. Because there were times with Aaron Jones that it just kind of felt like, do you really want to be out there? Or are you just collecting your game checks and then you're playing really well when you are available? I mean, it's refreshing to see this.
There's the old saying in sports, the best ability is availability. And Josh Jacobs is proving that for the Packers. Speaking of availability, let's go to our final topic on the evening here. We're saving the craziest topic for last. Aaron Rodgers is 41 years old. I saw something the other day. We all remember the Hail Mary against Detroit where maybe it was Joe Buck, but the announcer basically said, he's 32 years old. Does he have another vintage moment in him? That's basically what he said. And now here we are 10 years later. This guy is still playing football at a high level. I was just looking at his stats, 1,270 yards, 14 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. High on interceptions for Rodgers, but those 14 touchdowns, he's tied for third amongst all NFL quarterbacks right now. Anthony, you look just tickled pink. You got to love this as a quarterback.
Oh, it's so good. I mean, from a Steelers perspective, I don't love it, but Aaron Rodgers, you guys are Packers fans. I grew up loving the quarterback position. He's my favorite thrower of the football. Everything he does with his arm is magical, man. And he just still has a couple of those throws every game. You're like, old dog still got it, man. Like that one on Thursday night to Freiermuth, and he just ripped it right down the field, and it was like through a couple arms, and you're like, yep, I've seen that throw a million times before. Then he throws the Hail Mary 70 yards, and it was funny. It was really funny on that Thursday night game. The Bengals were going down to score, and there was they were running the clock down. They were about to go put it in the end zone, and it cuts to him on the sidelines. The camera does, and he pulled the team together, pulled all the offense together, and you're like, you know what? He's going to have a chance at this. I don't know what the chance is going to be, but he thinks he's going to have a chance. And they got the ball back with 8 seconds left, one completion, timeout, 70-yard Hail Mary. And you're like, man, of course. Every throw he's still got it. He's smart with the football. It's funny you say he's got 5 interceptions, but that's high for him. Mm-hmm. That's funny. That's just funny to say because you're so used to him not throwing the ball, not turning it over. He's still got the goods, man. And Sunday night is going to be must watch TV.
Oh my gosh, Evan, what do you think?
Yeah, man. I mean, I can't wait. When I saw this game on the schedule, even before Rodgers is signed, number one, the NFL knew something. They knew this was happening well before the media did.
Definitely.
But the comparisons between Rodgers and Favre are so close. And there's one stat that I'm a little terrified of heading into this game. Brett Favre is one of currently 4 quarterbacks to beat all 32 teams in the NFL. The other 3 quarterbacks are Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, and Drew Brees. It would be right on par with Aaron Rodgers to come in and beat Green Bay and join Favre on that list. But, I mean, he's incredible. I grew up watching him, and dude's still got it. He could probably play for another 5 or 6 years if he wanted to.
Okay, that was the question I wanted to ask. How much do you think he's got left?
as long as he wants, up until probably about like that 48 range. I think he could play same way as Tom Brady. I mean, the thing with him is like he's evolved his game. He's so smart. The football IQ he has, he's not that guy in Green, like he was in Green Bay where he's just like running around like crazy. He does that in spurts, but he's not trying to extend the play every single time now. He understands, especially after the Achilles tear, hey, I've got to stay in the pocket a little longer. I've got to get rid of the football quicker. I don't have to try to make the play every single time, but he's still capable of it. And so that, he's turned into a pocket passer who can extend the play at an elite level whenever he chooses to. And that's kind of terrifying for a defense, especially a defense like the Packers, who they struggle, when the ball comes out early, and they also struggle when the ball comes out late, unless the pass rush is getting the quarterback. But, in this game, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing what Jordan Love looks like in this game. It's a big test for him. It's an opportunity for him too. Everybody, when they made the trade to send Rodgers out of town, Packers fans were split about 50-50. But in the back of your head, you're always thinking, when you get rid of a future Hall of Famer, what's the kid going to do next? What's the next kid going to do? Love's done well. He's done really well. This is his chance to come in and say, you made the right decision. I'm here to win. I'm going to beat my mentor. Let's go get it. Go, Pack, go.
The crazy thing is you can say that, and I remember this, the same exact conversation was being had when Aaron Rodgers replaced Brett Favre. We're getting rid of a Hall of Famer. Let's see what the kid can do. Anthony, how does that feel, man? Just from your perspective.
Come on, dude. I mean, good for you too.
It is
one Hall of Famer to another to a really good. We're going to call him really good for now, but screw it. He's going to be a Hall of Famer too.
I mean, if you think about it, just think about the odds of the fact that we're talking about Jordan Love as a top 10 quarterback, most likely. Even that, the fact that he didn't just fall on his face from day one is incredible when you think about it.
Yeah. I mean, truthfully though, let's also think about the NFL and how the NFL treats young quarterbacks, right? Mm-hmm. Something Green Bay has done with these three guys, well, especially with Rodgers and Love behind Favre, is they bring them in early. It's not like they're waiting till that quarterback's gone to draft him and then forcing him onto the field. What they did with Love is, you set him for a minimum of 3 years. They did it with Rodgers. You learn from a great, and you're ready to go. That first year starting is your fourth season at a minimum. You've learned so much over 3 years from one of the best to ever do it. I look at a lot of these teams. Jackson Dart's obviously looking really good, but he's playing his first season. Most rookies drafted in the first round are playing year one, and that to me is a problem because a lot of these kids are not ready to play year one, and you're crushing their confidence. I think back to one of the quarterbacks who I thought was going to be an absolute superstar, David Carr. He got drafted by Houston. Truthfully, one of the most talented quarterbacks I've ever seen. He gets rocked his entire rookie season, and he never recovers from that. There is too much of that across the NFL, and the Packers have done it right, and I think more teams are starting to try to do that. They're just not as good as the Packers are at it.
Ev, you make an unbelievable point there, and like going back, like the way these rosters are structured now, it's a little more team friendly to do that. Like the Jordan Love's case, the Aaron Rodgers case. Correct me if I'm wrong though. This was old CBA where these first round picks were getting paid so much money that it was like actually irresponsible to not play them, to figure it out. And they held strong. And even in Aaron, and I'm sure Jordan was frustrated at times. Aaron was frustrated for not playing, but it's so good for them because they can learn without the pressure of expectation. And that's so big for the development of those guys. And that's why, everyone's like, oh man, the Packers are so lucky. No, they create your own luck in these scenarios. They don't go get a quarterback when they need one. They go when they have the luxury of getting one, and then they let them develop. And the proof is in the pudding there. And it is a very fun 30 years you guys have had, but you've done it because you've gotten it because you've done it the right way.
It's been so fun that now we don't even care if we win regular season games. So.
Clip that.
Well,
you got to win regular season games to get to the playoffs, but then you got to win the playoff games.
You do.
But I feel you. No, I mean, it's been fun to watch this team throughout my lifetime. Don't get me wrong. Like, I do like winning, but I mean, there's something to be said. The Packers have become a running joke across the NFL. That's not for no reason. Great teams who lose in the playoffs. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you don't make the playoffs or if you lose in the NFC Championship game because you can't recover an onside kick. You didn't win a championship. That's the only thing that matters. And I think when a fan base starts getting to a point where it's like, oh, we won 12 regular season games. Well, did you win a championship? So no, it doesn't matter. Shut up. That's truthfully what I feel about it. And, I hope that we can start turning that around a little bit here.
Absolutely. Well, it's going to be interesting. I mean, that's probably the least way you could say that. To watch Aaron Rodgers on the Pittsburgh Steelers, and to think that who would have saw Micah Parsons being on the Packers? That's there's just so many interesting storylines in this game. It's on Sunday Night Football. I mean, we're looking at a late October game. It's everything you could want.
This is everything, dude.
Yeah, it's everything.
And it's a Super Bowl. Well, and there's that storyline of the Super Bowl rematch where Aaron's Super Bowl was against the Packers, the whole thing too.
Yeah, it's just everything you can want. So we're going to have a lot to talk about on Packers Roundtable over the next week. I'm guaranteeing you that it's going to be interesting next Monday when we come together to see how everybody's feeling. But I think as just fans of football and fans of this league, I think we're all in for a treat. So really appreciate you guys being part of this. Thank you, everybody, again, out there for watching, for listening, for commenting, for getting on the community posts and talking with us. It means a lot to me. I know it means a lot to both of you guys, too. So
get down there right below me. Get over to Roundtable. Go find us. Go follow. Go join the communities.
Come join the fun. Anthony, Evan, I'm Andrew Kula. For you guys, I'm going to sign off, and we'll talk to you guys next week and let's see what the heck happens. See you guys.